Did someone ask for another Masters of the Universe multiple choice origin character story? Well, guess what? You're in luck, because in today's video, we're gonna be looking at the multiple origins of the character Teela. Let's get to it.
Hey again, everyone! Today's video is about yet another iconic Masters of the Universe character. And this one is special, because unlike most characters in the franchise, she was kept in the dark about her own identity, and that too by the very people who loved her. For over 40 years, every continuity has told a different story about who she really is. In one version, she's a magical clone. In another, a hidden daughter. In one, she is a street-smart hand witch working for the wrong side. I am, of course, talking about Teela, and in my opinion, she might just be the most inconsistently written, yet consistently compelling character the franchise has ever produced. So, gear up, because today we are going to walk through every single continuity and also settle one of MOTU's oldest questions. What is Teela's true origin story? Let's find out. The original 1982 minicomics. The minicomics are considered gospel if you want to know everything about the Masters of the Universe. And I will do the same. See, here I will discuss two important storylines: He-Man and the Power Sword, and the Tale of Teela. In the first one, He-Man and the Power Sword, Teela has been shown as a warrior goddess who rode Unicorn and appeared to guide He-Man and presented him with his weapons and armor. Mind you, here she was not given a name. She was only mentioned as a warrior goddess, who acted more like a mystical guide rather than a warrior. You can see this version of Teela is very close to the sorceress, but this is my own personal opinion. In the second one, The Tale of Teela, we get a different full-blown version of Teela in the same comic series, and that's where the real confusion begins. Here, Teela was revealed to be a clone of the sorceress, created by Skeletor 20 years ago. The events unfolded in this way that Skeletor captured the Magical One and harnessed her power to create her clone. Skeletor wanted to raise that clone as his evil bride and give him a magical heir, who would later give him access to Castle Grayskull's power. But Man-at-Arms discovered his plan and rescued the infant clone and named her Teela, after the goddess, and began raising her. Okay. Now remember, this is the first instance where the sorceress is indirectly said to be the mother of Teela, even though she was just her clone or physical extension. Teela in the Filmation series, 1983 to 1985. If the mini-comics gave us the seed of Teela's origin, the Filmation series watered it down and watched it grow. This is where things got emotional, and honestly, a lot more human. The standout episode is called Teela's Quest, and if you haven't watched it, stop everything and go see it. Frustrated by the mystery of her own birth, Teela sought out the Oracle of the Crystal Sea, a mystical being with knowledge of every soul's past, present, and future. What she uncovered shook her to her core. Man-at-Arms, the man who raised her, had found her as an infant who was left behind by the sorceress herself. He took her in, gave her a home, a name, a purpose, and never told her the truth. But here's what makes this even heavier. The sorceress didn't abandon Teela out of indifference. She made a deliberate, painful choice. Teela was destined to one day inherit her mother's role as the mystical guardian of Eternia, and that destiny required her to grow up free from that burden, unbothered by the weight of prophecy. So the sorceress did what might be the hardest thing a mother could do. She erased Teela's memory of ever knowing the truth and stepped back into the shadows. She did watch from a distance, though. Beyond the origin reveal, this continuity also quietly signaled what Teela's future held, which was something far bigger than being He-Man's companion or a secondary character in Adam's story. She had her own arc, her own destiny. The Filmation series was the first to truly treat her that way, and for a children's cartoon from 1983, that was ahead of its time. (1987) live-action film, alternate family dynamic. Gary Goddard brought He-Man to life with Dolph Lundgren playing the titular role. The movie followed a very simple plot. Skeletor wanted to seize the control of Castle Grayskull to be at the center of the power in the universe. So he captured and imprisoned the sorceress within a power-draining field and planned to extract all her powers. On the other hand, He-Man, Man-at-Arms, and Teela rescued Thenurian locksmith Gwildor from Skeletor's troops. Gwildor invented a cosmic key, which could open a portal to any dimension in the universe through musical notes. This key was stolen by Skeletor's trusted commander, Eva Lynn, and her master used it to breach Castle Grayskull. Gwildor had a prototype of the cosmic key, through which He-Man and his friends entered Skeletor's castle and attempted to rescue the sorceress, but failed, as Skeletor and his troops arrived in time and stopped He-Man from his mission. To free themselves from the situation, Gwildor used the cosmic key to open a portal that dropped them straight onto Earth. But the moment they arrived, the key slipped out of their hands and landed with two teenagers who had no idea what they were dealing with. Would He-Man track it down in time? Would he make it back to Eternia before Skeletor seized everything? That forms the rest of the story, and honestly, it's worth a watch, especially if you're a Dolph Lundgren fan. Oh, and one of those teenagers? That is Courtney Cox. Yes, our very own Monica from Friends, in one of her earlier roles. Now, coming to our discussion. What was the role of Teela in the entire movie? Substantial. Played by Chelsea Field, Teela was shown as the ally of He-Man and traveled to Earth along with him. But from a relation point of view, Teela was not shown any confirming relation with the sorceress. Both were presented as independent individuals, but in all honesty, the movie was more focused towards action than exploring the lore or establishing the characters, as the director thought most of the audience who would turn up to watch would be fans and would be aware of the lore. But his thought process turned out to be costly. The movie tanked at the box office and even met with negative reviews, but it is still considered a classic in today's time. Now, let's have a quick recap. In the minicomics, Teela and the sorceress are different individuals, Teela being her clone. In the Filmation series, she is the sorceress's daughter and future mystical guardian of Eternia. And in the '87 movie, the two have no direct connection whatsoever. Okay, all clear here, right? Good. Next up, New Adventures 1990, The Future Glimpse. The TV series followed a very different take on the Masters of the Universe storyline. Here, He-Man was sent into the future to protect a very advanced, peaceful planet called Primus from an invading army of evil mutants led by Flog, who has teamed up with his arch-nemesis Skeletor. But our core focus would be on the 35th episode of The New Adventures of He-Man, Once Upon a Time. Because in this episode, we see Teela, who unexpectedly appeared in He-Man's timeline. The story followed in this way. He-Man was feeling homesickness. Therefore, the sorceress bent the time to bring Teela from Eternia to Primus. Her arrival was dramatic, appearing in a storm of light just as He-Man was overwhelmed by Skeletor and the mutants. Teela instantly restored a sense of home for He-Man. Fighting beside him, she reminded him of their shared past, and even noted that Eternia has been peaceful in Skeletor's absence. Beside combat, her role became emotional. She saw through He-Man's struggles and gently urged him to return with her, offering him a way back to the life he misses. However, her presence is temporary. The sorceress revealed that Teela must return with the dragon Iris Bloom or she'll be stranded. Despite helping defeat Skeletor and destroy the dangerous encyclopedia of evil, in the end, Teela and He-Man shared a quiet, bittersweet goodbye. She faded back to Eternia, leaving He-Man grounded again in his duty. From a storyline point of view, everything looks perfect. The only thing I can notice about Teela here is that she is aging naturally, and we don't have a clue about her long-term future, whether she becomes a sorceress or not.
Well, trust me, I'm no sorceress.
2002 MYP series, expanded but unfinished. The 2002 He-Man and the Masters of the Universe that most of the millennials like me will relate to. This very series was my introduction to He-Man and his adventures. But forget about me for now. Let's focus on Teela. In the show, Teela was reimagined as a fiery, headstrong 16-year-old girl who served as the captain of the Royal Guard. She was trained by Man-at-Arms, who raised her as his own. And who can forget her bond with Prince Adam, whom she trained, teased him for his perceived cowardice, but unknowingly harbored feelings for his heroic alter ego, He-Man. I won't go across the entire show, but I will single out the episode Out of the Past, because it is the episode where we get strong evidence of her past. The storyline went like so. During a mission, Teela was drawn to the village of Palesia after experiencing visions. There she discovered a carving of a girl who looked exactly like her, which triggered a deeper mystery about her lineage. The truth unfolded through the sorceress that long ago, she lived among the villagers and protected them from the warlord Provis during the Great Unrest. During that time, she cared for an injured warrior and later left with a baby, Teela, entrusting her to Man-at-Arms. As Skeletor attacked the village with regenerating skeleton warriors, Teela fought fiercely alongside her allies, proving her strength not just as a soldier, but as a protector tied to this legacy. In the end, she doesn't just save the village, she uncovered the truth that she was the daughter of the sorceress, born from a past intertwined with war, sacrifice, and destiny. So basically, they have again played with the biological mother plot that we saw in the Filmation series, but with the added extra of the village arc. This series could have explored more about her, but it got cancelled. MOTU Classics, 2009 to 2011. Now it's time for the toy bio. Fans who have the habit of collecting figurines love reading the bios. I won't go deep on how Teela's figures were modeled year after year. The fans will know this better than I. The one thing I will focus on is Teela's bio, which was written as the adoptive daughter of Duncan, the current Man-at-Arms. Teela grew up in the palace of King Randor. Trained from an early age in the ways of battle, at age 18, she became captain of the guard, leading the troops of King Randor and acting as a de facto member of the Masters of the Universe. She is yet to become aware of her true heritage as the magically cloned daughter of and heir to the sorceress of Castle Grayskull. She carries the Staff of Ka, which was once used by the Snake Men in their epic battles against the Horde and King Grayskull during the Great Wars. Teela uses her magical staff to track her foes' every move. Whew, that's the best documented evidence one has about Teela's origin on the internet. It didn't have any ambiguity and was a great upgrade from the original 1980s MOTU toy line with numerous continuities that kept the fans confused. In the toy line series, first, Teela was labeled as Female Warrior. But since the company reused a lot of body parts between similar products, her features had an uncanny similarity with the Sorceress, who was another renowned female character from the toy line. Only the snake-themed helmet and staff made the two toys look different. But here's a funny thing. Once, the Sorceress design even got labeled as Teela, and then the minicomic had the habit of mixing both characters again and again, which didn't help much. And once she was also colored green as well. However, the cartoon series came to the rescue and gave Teela, the captain of the King's Guards, an identity, which separated her from the Sorceress's shadow. But the idea of the Green Goddess continued with Mattel, who opted to make it official with a translucent repaint of this character, loaded with a new staff. DC Comics, 2013 to 2014. Teela's Instant Transformation. In He-Man and the Masters of the Universe issue number 7 to 12, in the storyline called What Lies Within, He-Man, Teela, and their allies traveled to Subternia after the sorceress's death, hoping to restore her. Guided by King Randor, the heroes faced a realm where the dead lingered and reality distorted. The heroes encountered the ancient Snake Men, who sought to rise again, turning the mission into a battle for survival. As they journeyed deeper, Subternia began to psychologically test them, forcing each hero to confront inner fears and unresolved guilt. The deeper they went, the clearer it became that reviving the sorceress may disrupt the natural balance of life and death. Their mission shifted from resurrection to understanding the consequences of their actions as the heroes struggled to escape a realm that fed on their weaknesses. For Teela, the journey into Subternia was far more than a physical descent. It was her emotional awakening and spiritual unraveling. She was grieving the loss of the sorceress and entered the realm with burdened unanswered questions and a sense of incompleteness that she could not explain. Unlike the others, who see the mission as a dangerous rescue, Teela felt an almost magnetic pull toward the sorceress's fate, as if her connection ran deeper than she had ever been told. Finally, when she got thrown into the mystical flame, the center of the starseed, she met the sorceress, who told her that she was destined to take her place. This emotional mother-daughter moment helped Teela to transform into the mystical green goddess, the sorceress of Serpos. The Snake Man bowed to her, and all of them leave Subternia and head to Snake Mountain, where Teela rallies the Snake Men to help take on Hordak and his evil horde, with Teela's newfound sorceress powers. The transformation and everything is cool. The only difference this storyline had was that Teela was instantly transformed as the sorceress, rather than a slow build-up that was in the original storyline of the Filmation series.
I am Adam, Prince of Eternia, and okay.
Revelation 2021, The Payoff. Revelation is one heck of a series where you'll find a lot about Teela as her character goes through many phases in life, starting with her promotion to being the new man-at-arms, then a mercenary, and at last, the sorceress. I'm gonna start with her first role, the new man-at-arms. During her promotion ceremony, the sorceress called for help as Castle Grayskull was under Skeletor's attack. Teela, who became the new man-at-arms, went with her royal army to save the sorceress from the evil Skeletor's hands, and this resulted in a huge fight. In the fight, Teela got to know that He-Man was none other than her friend, Adam, and later, both Skeletor and He-Man were obliterated in the explosion caused by a magical impact. When her father Duncan passed this tragic news to King Randor, he also shared He-Man's true identity. In a rage, King Randor banished her father from the palace. Teela, also with grief and anger in her heart, quit her position and moved far away from the palace, where she was living with all the lies and deceit for years. After many years, in a world now devoid of magic, Teela reinvented herself as a hardened mercenary alongside her new partner, Andra, and both of them recovered rare magical artifacts. But during these years, she didn't lose her touch as a warrior. She was still fearless and bold as she carried out dangerous missions, such as infiltrating Snake Mountain with ease. She was unaware of her past in magic, but was pulled into it when she uncovered Evil Lynn's deception and learned that the universe was dependent on restoring the Sword of Power. She ultimately united with her father, Duncan, and accepted a quest that could restore magic in their world again. During her journey to Subternia, Teela underwent a crucial emotional and psychological transformation. Separated from her allies, she confronted Scareglow, who offered her the dark half of the Sword of Power in exchange for her fear. Drawn into the well of darkness, Teela faced delusions that preyed on her deepest insecurities, including her lingering sense of betrayal over Prince Adam hiding his identity as He-Man. The illusions shifted forms. Once, they became corrupted He-Man, the next to a younger version of herself, which forced her to confront both her doubts and her past. But she didn't give in, and recognized the truth, and refused to surrender to her fear. At last, she overcame it all, and earned the dark side of the sword. Evil Lynn demanded the sword from Teela to open a portal to Preternia using Zoar's power. Before they could pass, Scareglow attacked and trapped the warriors. Orko used his last bit of magic to hold Scareglow back and stop his attack. In a final act of sacrifice, Orko and Scareglow vanished in an explosion, and the only thing that was left behind was a bit of Orko's garment. But she was not aware that a huge surprise was waiting for her. In the mystical realm of Preternia, Teela reunited with Prince Adam, who mourned Orko by creating a heartfelt memorial. Though Adam proposed reforging the Sword of Power with Hero, Teela remained emotionally conflicted, as she was still hurt by Adam's betrayal regarding his secret identity as He-Man. Later, the sword was reforged, but it cost Roboto's life. This sight moved Adam, and he chose to return to Eternia, and Teela followed. At Castle Grayskull, she handed him the restored sword, hoping to save their world. But tragedy broke down when Skeletor ambushed Adam and became Skelegod. Teela was left devastated as she witnessed Adam fall before her eyes. This loss becomes the turning point for her. Later, guided by the spirit of her mother, she finally accepted her destiny and transformed into the new sorceress of Grayskull and left her old life behind. Now fully empowered, she rose during the final battle and confronted Evil Lynn in her godlike form. Rather than overpowering her, Teela used compassion and understanding to break down Evil Lynn emotionally, convincing her to abandon her plans to destroy the universe. With He-Man by her side, Teela was able to restore balance, close the rift that was threatening the reality, and most importantly, brought back magic to Eternia. This storyline again had the essence of Teela becoming the sorceress with small adjustments. But according to me, this series almost answered all the points regarding Teela and what is her true identity, that she is the daughter of the sorceress. Revolution 2024. In Masters of the Universe Revolution, Teela's journey reached its ultimate peak. Her character arc took a symbolic turn as she became the new sorceress of Castle Grayskull. But what's important is that she didn't become the mere reflection of her mother, who was bound by tradition, restraint, and the ancient rules of Eternia. Instead, she revolutionized this position with the power of Ka. The power of Ka was a deeper, more primal force tied to Eternia's ancient magic. Unlike the classic power of Grayskull wielded by He-Man, the power of Ka was fluid, instinctive, and uniquely hers. Paired with a warrior instinct and a never-bow-down mentality, Teela became the biggest asset in helping He-Man to save Eternia from its enemies. Another important thing that she broke regarding the sorceress's limitation was the confinement of the Falcon form. Unlike her mother, Teela could easily switch between warrior and a sorceress role. In short, if her mother was all about preserving Eternia's past, then she was all about reshaping Eternia's future.
If I survive, my voice and I will come back for it.
2021 Netflix's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. In Netflix's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, we saw a different version of Teela's origin. In the animated show, Teela was portrayed as a tough, street-smart teenage hand witch from Eternos, who had glowing golden blue eyes with a rebellious attitude. Her hardships in the lower ward shaped her self-reliant nature and forged her into a weapon. She was initially working for Evil Lyn, something that has not been shown in previous versions, and was tasked with stealing the Sword of Power. But Teela heard a mysterious voice that was guiding her towards a greater destiny. Living on the streets, Teela had a hard time trusting others, but in the series, she displayed strong moral integrity, sometimes even going against her own allies. Later, her journey led her to Castle Grayskull, where she discovered her deeper connection to its power. Even though she had her reservations regarding fate and magic, she gradually accepted her role after guidance from the Eldris, and ultimately became the sorceress, and gained powerful abilities like flight, teleportation, and advanced magic. So the series overlapped Teela's arc with the sorceress, and forged both the characters into one. Rather interesting, don't you think? So here we are, guys. That's what I had in store for Teela. For 4 decades, there was a lot of debate regarding her origins, but Revelation answered it all. Now, before I let you go, let's save the date, June 5th, 2026. The new Masters of the Universe movie is dropping, with Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man, Camila Mendes stepping into Teela's boots, and from whatever's been shown so far, she looks every bit the part. And for the sorceress, they cast Morena Baccarin. Yeah, the big question is whether the makers go the classic route and tie Teela and the sorceress together, or take a completely fresh swing at it. Personally, I can't wait to find out. Which brings me to you. Which continuity did you find the most compelling? And what are you expecting from the new film? Drop it all in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this one, like, share, subscribe. There's a lot more coming. See you in the next one. Bye!